What I do with my life is of my own doing. I live it the best way I can. I've been criticized on many, many occasions because of acquaintances and what have you. But I don't do those things to have anybody follow me in doing that same thing, is what I mean.
Frank Sinatra, also known as All Blue Eyes, was one of the most iconic and influential singers in the history of American music. Born in 1915 in Hoboken, New Jersey, Sinatra faced many struggles throughout his life, but he was able to overcome them with his perseverance, hard work, and determination. Sinatra's passion for music began at a young age, and he would often sing at family gatherings and local events. However, his parents' troubled marriage led to a turbulent childhood, and Sinatra struggled with feelings of insecurity and inadequacy.
Quite contradictory stories about your childhood. There's this kind of general version of the near slum conditions in Hoboken. And then there are others. There was an article some years ago by a very good magazine writer who said that this isn't so, that your family was not necessarily destitute.
It was a semi-slum area. It was typical of the middle 20s and the late 20s and through the Depression.
Despite these challenges, Sinatra continued to pursue his passion for music and started his career as a singer in the 1930s. He quickly became a popular performer known for his smooth voice and charismatic stage presence. However, his success was not without its setbacks. During World War II, Sinatra faced a significant backlash when he was deemed ineligible for military service due to a perforated eardrum. He was accused of being a draft dodger and faced harsh criticism from the press and the public. However, Sinatra refused to let these accusations deter him from his career, and he continued to perform for the troops overseas. Sinatra's personal life was also tumultuous during this time, as he faced a number of personal challenges, including divorce and health issues. He also faced criticism for his political affiliations, as he was associated with organized crime figures and faced allegations of ties to the mafia.
And it was pretty rough, but I've read and been told, or rather asked questions concerning gang wars and so on and so forth. Well, there weren't gang wars, but there were beefs and there were battles about position and who should cross the line into where we lived and cross the line into where they lived, you see. And I must say there were many times when I had to go on an errand and I skirted certain areas of the town, you know, because the cry went up, kill the Dago when he comes through the corner of town.
In the 1950s, Sinatra faced another setback when his popularity waned due to changing musical tastes and personal scandals.
The only time I had any physical contact with a newspaper man was a man who's now dead, who said some pretty nasty things about me in a column for about 2 years, and they were all gross lies. And that didn't bother me so much until he once said several things to me in person. And I reached the boiling point, and it was all over. It was an unfortunate incident, but frankly, if he were alive and he'd said it again, I would do it again, because he was just that kind of a man.
He struggled with depression and was forced to take a break from performing for several years.
Preceding that period, worked constantly, 300 days a year or more in many instances. And I was traveling constantly and just doing all kinds of work.
However, he used this time to focus on his acting career and made a comeback in the late 1950s with his role in the film From Here to Eternity, for which he won an Academy Award and a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor.
When I was ready and I'd had enough rest, or I took time to have all of the cobwebs blown out of my head, I went back to work. I changed record companies, changed attorneys, changed accountants, changed picture companies, and changed my clothes, and just went right back to work again.
Sinatra continued to experiment and grow as an artist. He was a regular performer at top venues around the world, and his recordings continued to top the charts. In the 1950s and 1960s, Sinatra became synonymous with Las Vegas, where he established a legendary residency. He was also a member of a group of entertainers known as the Rat Pack. The Rat Pack consisted of a group of talented performers, including Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop. They were known for their cool, sophisticated style, their love of gambling, and their legendary parties. Together, Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack represented a new kind of Hollywood glamour, one that was rooted in charm, wit, and a kind of effortless cool. They were trailblazers who shattered conventional norms, and they paved the way for a new generation of performers who would follow in their footsteps. Sinatra's Las Vegas residency was more than just a string of successful concerts, however. It was a cultural phenomenon that reflected the spirit of the times. He brought together the worlds of music, entertainment, and gambling, and helped to transform Las Vegas into a hub of glamour, sophistication, and luxury. Despite the glitz and glamour of their public lives, the Rat Pack was also known for their strong sense of camaraderie and their loyalty to one another. They stood by each other through thick and thin, and they supported each other through the ups and downs of their careers and personal lives. Frank Sinatra also continued to collaborate with other artists and influence popular music. He embraced new forms of popular music, including jazz and rock and roll, and collaborated with other legends in the music industry such as Ella Fitzgerald and Duke Ellington. Sinatra's career continued to flourish in the 60s and 70s with his iconic recordings of songs like My Way, New York, and Fly Me to the Moon. He was known for his effortless style and charm, and his performances captured the hearts of audiences around the world.
What did he do? Because in an interview once a long time ago with me, he honestly said, I don't know what I'm doing. He says to Steve Lawrence, they all sing the same. We're just guys singing.
No, that's not true. Actually, he literally opened the door for all of us who came after him. And as a result, I think Vic will agree with me, and Paul and everybody here tonight, we all owe him a great debt. I mean, this man approached American popular songs like nobody did before him. And as a result, he took that 32 bars of music and made it a mini screenplay. He suddenly involved you in that story. And he made you feel like you were the only one in that audience he was talking to. And that was part of his uniqueness, I believe.
This resulted in winning many awards, including 11 Grammys. Despite his many accomplishments, Frank Sinatra never lost his passion for music and performing. He remained active in the music industry until his death in 1998, leaving behind a legacy of timeless classics and unforgettable performances.
We know what we heard, but you know it from the other end. What did he do?
He delivered the lyrics like an actor did. He pulled you into the story. But most of all, he phrased like a jazz musician, because they came from another school that sat in the row of seats with the Pied Pipers and Joe Stafford, and they watched musicians with stars in. And musicians played until they got tired, and they'd make a modulation. They'd all get up and sing, grab your hat and grab your coat, on sunny side of the street or something, after they got through playing. But they listened to Ziggy Elman, all these great musicians, and Frank phrased. Miles Davis told me he learned it was very much influenced by his phrasing, where he puts the notes in the bar. And that was so hip about Frank, and that's why his music was so timeless.
And now, Steve, you got a great voice, and you're a tremendous singer, and you've been at the top a long time. When you heard him, did you say, I can't do that? What do we know?
Frank had great instinct. And you can't teach that, you have to be born with it, and he had great courage. He had the courage of his convictions. When he read something, he said, this is the way I understand this. And he convinced that audience that he was right. Melodically, I mean, he took great liberties. And prior to Frank Sinatra, Quincy, I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, prior to Frank Sinatra vocally, everybody sang pretty much, how the notes were written. They got all 4 beats in the bar. Or
Didn't hold a concert.
Yeah, and they did exactly what was it. This man took liberties, took license, went with his gut instinct, and he was right.
From his early days as a crooner to his later years as a musical icon, Frank Sinatra's evolution as an artist and performer was a testament to his talent and versatility.
I would like to be remembered as a man who had a wonderful time living his life, and who had good friends, fine family, and I don't think I could ask for anything more than that, actually.